Samsung's profit more than doubled in the last 3 months of 2016 on robust semiconductor sales. It was also driven by a recovery in its mobile business after the fire-prone Galaxy Note 7 debacle. Now, the company will also buy back $8 billion worth of its own shares, which will be cancelled. And Tim, we saw the shares pop on the back of this, largely due to the buyback. And is this just to try and placate the investor base that has been through a crisis or two?
Yeah, look, I think it is. It was a very large buyback, but it was only around about 10 to 12% of the cash they've got on hand. So it was a large number, but really they've got a lot more cash that they could be giving back to shareholders, either through buybacks or through actual dividends. So really, I agree that the pop is based on that. If you look at the actual earnings themselves, year on year, the top line basically didn't change. It came in at almost exactly the same number, but going through the line, we saw gross margin improve quite a lot. And that's simply because their semiconductor side and their LCD side did very, very well during the period. And those are very capital intensive and depreciation heavy kind of businesses. So when sales go up there, you got better gross margins. But I got to say that if that can go forward into the next few quarters, that's great. But I'd be skeptical that they could, because these are very cyclical businesses, supply demand driven, and we'd need to see something going through in the next few quarters that will drive demand for NAND, flash memory, DRAM memory, even LCDs. And there's really not a lot out there in the market in terms of new products that looks like it could drive these areas. So that would be a real threat for Samsung going in the next few quarters.
So a bit of a stay of execution if you're looking at the share price, but what about what's been unfolding to do with the embroilment of Samsung's leader, heir apparent, in the scandal that has consumed the South Korean politicians? Is there any update in that respect, or how investors are digesting this?
Well, you know what's amazing is that investors don't seem to be that worried about it, to be honest. They kind of almost dismissed it and brushed it off. JY Lee has not been arrested. He's not been put in prison or anything like that at this stage. They're still investigating. But so far, it looks like the worst part could be over. There's still a lot of other kind of problems that could be ahead, and so there's a few landmines down the track for Samsung, for its executives and so forth. But really, to date, if you look at the share trading of the stock over the last few weeks, most of the bad news, it seems to be priced in. And in fact, some investors seem to be kind of betting that this could be a weakness. Price-earnings ratios seem to be rising quite high, so a lot of people do believe that, don't worry about it, Samsung will be fine. And then you look, of course, at the Galaxy Note 7 problem. We found out overnight really what was behind it, with a battery problem there. Again, I think the reputational risk mostly is behind them, and they will go back to work to rebuilding the brand that Samsung has.